are you?
Hi, Rachel. How are you?
I'm doing well. This is a nice, we talked last night at the premiere,
Yeah,
but I do like that now we are wearing glasses.
I know.
So this is the
Did you have a fun time last night?
I did. It was really fun. It was my second time seeing the movie, and so it was cool to
And
kind of be
you're
with a
still
different
talking to me.
audience.
Wow.
I'm still
I didn't
talking.
bore you to death.
No, I love this movie a lot. It's my I said to you last night, it is my favorite of the franchise so far.
Rachel, I got
And
to
that
keep you
stays
around
true.
more. I'm going to keep you around for an ego boost.
Just always being like, it's so
Yeah,
good.
I'm going to start my day
Um
with Rachel.
I will say what I like about this is you have established if there is a dog and someone tries to hurt that dog, either the
You will,
dog's gonna
you will
fight
pay.
back or John Wick's gonna fight. Yeah, someone's paying for hurting the dog.
Yes.
Because third one I did love when the dog bit the guy who shot him. That was my favorite part. And this one, I do love the use of the dog that the tracker has and
Hmm.
kind of how she doesn't really like John at some parts, but then like
You
becomes
got to earn
John's
it.
ally throughout this movie. Yeah.
Come on, like
And
any good pet, you got to earn their love too. You can't just accept it, or you can't just expect it.
you do, and it rules though. And so, but
Just like
having the
people.
tracker have that dog, that is true. Animals are just like people. I have a cat who I'm well aware that he is a human being, despite the fact that he's a cat. But with the tracker, having a dog as such an important part of the tracker's kind of whole persona, uh, was that your way of tying it to John, or was that just something that like made sense for the
No,
character when
no.
you were crafting
Good
it?
question, Rachel. Good question. Look, my mom was an animal lover. Like we used to raise Irish wolfhounds. So from the earliest time I can remember, we always had anywhere from 2 to 10, some of the biggest dogs in the world coming around. And
Mhm.
my mom loved to breed them. I mean, it just was it was her thing, whatever. So we always grew up with dogs bigger than us, kind of thing. But what you learn, and I've always had cats or dogs, and I have, a small herd of animals right now. Um, Animals have that up, but let me back up. So when you're doing a movie that's so, let's just say, masculine and actiony, and it's all very brooding action heroes and men, like what really think of all the tropes you've seen in action movies. So what do you do to show their soft side? You have a tender little scene with the kid eating ice cream, you fall in love with somebody, or you get your heart broken in a divorce, or maybe he likes to paint, or he's a jazz musician on the side, and what are the goal of all those little scenes? The goal is to show a human side of your character. So it's not all just
Mhm.
tough guy stuff, right? He's got to break at some point. He's got to be vulnerable. That's what makes you love him. Like animals bring that out in everyone. Like an animal is a reflecting board of character. Like what's a great way to bring out the most vulnerable side of a human being? Like, yes, John lost his wife in the first movie and you see the sadness, but how do you see like the real human? Like, how do you, that's taking from, how do you give something to him? You give him a puppy and you
Mhm.
watch him feed it out of his cereal bowl. You watch him wake up and like, how can you not smile when a puppy, no matter what your loss or I don't know how shitty your day is, when that little thing licks your eye and looks you in the eyes, like you are responsible for that life, and that life makes you feel love like you've never had. Like, the
Mhm.
feeling, right? With your kitten or your puppy.
Mhm.
That's always been a thread. It's been a reflecting board for all our characters. It grounds them in something that every single human out there can get. Not all of us can imagine or empathize with a world-class assassin or martial artist that can spin cars and do kung fu, but we all can pet a dog, and that helps ground the characters. So we try to keep that alive, and we show, one, it's a little bit of an action design for me to show what you can do with animals and how cool it can be, and
Mhm.
that's a big part of the choreography. But character-wise, it's exactly what you said. It's a thread to John. Just little shot of the pit bull, little shot about how Lawrence Fishburne's character is still taking care of him, little shot about how it all started off with a puppy being a symbol or a metaphor for grief and love, and resilience to carry on a life and to be responsible for something. And even now that's a thread to show, what. So if the tracker didn't have a dog, what would that character be like? Shamir would still
Mhm.
have done a great job, but to show how much this one guy is insular from the world and has this love, and it changes his alliance. The guy's like this greedy guy that wants money, wants to buy his way out. He's willing to give his life out of respect for someone that saves his dog. I mean, that's right
Mhm.
there, that one moment, with John shoot, and then Shamir saving John's life in return. That's what number 4 is about. It's about that fellowship. It's about consequence and trust and friendship and loyalty. And that's, we didn't have to say a word, right? There was no,
Right.
high fiving bros at the end. It was, you saved my dog's life, I saved your life, we're fucking even. That shows more about a character than I could ever say. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I think, yeah. And I think this, like you said, this movie, that is a theme throughout it. Like we see it with Donnie Yen's character, Kane, specifically, like, because he says multiple times to his former friends, like, just stay down. Like, I'm like, I don't want to hurt my friends, but I have to do what I have to do. And it is really interesting to kind of see specifically his growth with John throughout the movie. Like, I love that last kind of sequence when they're going up the stairs and he's like, you need to get up and you need to get up the stairs. I'll get you up there, but like we got to make it.
Yeah, the frenemy dynamic. We tried to link everything together so that I'm fascinated by dilemma. And I think it's a Ted Lasso quote, actually. It's like, our choices define us, not our skills. So, in every scene in the movie, hopefully you see the characters make a choice. And the dilemma factor of it all is not, can you make a choice between a good and a bad thing? That's easy. You want to be rich, you want to be poor. You want to be happy, you want to be sad. Like, there's always, the hard choices are always between bad and worse, right? Like, do you kill your friend to save your daughter, or do you let your daughter die to save your friend? Like, those are real choices that tell you so much. Shamir gives up his dreams to save the guy that saved his dog's life. Like, John takes a bullet to save a friend's life because he knows he put his friend in a bad spot. Like, none of this would have happened if John just, held his temper down, and that's the fun stuff, right? So that's all nonverbal acting and performances, which I think Keanu and I find the most, that's what we're most proud of. Like, everybody asks me what I'm most proud of in the movie and what we think works. That just getting that point across about choice and consequence and living up to the responsibility of your choices. I think that's, in my life, that's the most important thing in the world. So I think that makes us happy that people get that. So
Yeah, where it comes across so well in the movie. And I think you do open this movie with something I think is for millennials. It probably isn't, but I'm going to claim it's for millennials, because you have Lawrence Fishburne saying a monologue asking Reeves is just punching a block of wood.
yeah, it's
And I was
Dante
like,
mixed with Kurosawa. Yeah.
I was like, there's so many levels to this. It's also like all the Matrix kids are going to be
Yeah.
like, hell yeah, this
A lot of
rules.
Matrix references. We're from the Matrix clan.
It rolled. I did love, like, in the Arc to Triumph scene where he like goes back to like avoid a car. I was like,
Yep.
I'm gonna
Oh, that's
pretend
Neo.
that was Neo.
Yeah,
I was like, I'm
exactly.
gonna pretend that's Neo.
That's funny. It was
But it
Neo if you think
is,
about it.
yeah, and you it's the one. You guys really do kind of like honor your fans in a lot of ways, because like obviously
Yeah.
a lot of us came to this franchise because we're huge Keanu Reeves action
Yeah.
fans, or just Keanu Reeves fans in general. But honor his legacy as an action and star and an actor in general. You honor the legacy of the whole franchise with this film, and you do it in such a cool, fun, action-packed way that I
Thank
did
you.
see a headline that said like this movie earns every second of its runtime, and that's true. Like, there's not a moment where you're like, why is it so, like, it's
That's
everything
nice.
is worth it.
That's
And
nice.
but for you though, like, with kind of all of that writing on this and like making it pay off, outside of what we talked about as like something you're proud of, what is the most exciting like sequence or part of this movie that you got to tell, that kind of like you were like, I'm so proud we got to add that in?
It's like the little thing. You'll laugh. It's always the little things that are unexpected when you write them, that you see it in your head, and you never know if it's, again, like I'm a big silent movie fan. So like, you study Buster Keaton, or you study Harold Lloyd, and you Charlie Chapman, or any of the big silent, like they got so much across because it was so human, the way they'd look sad, or like, the little tramp. So like you could emote things when he goes with like there's something cool about nonverbal. I'm fascinated by not like Leone, when to use a close-up, when not to use an extreme close-up. It's not just a cool shot. It's got to be telling you something. So little things like, at the end during the duel, you have the tracker just sitting on this bench watching the whole thing. And Shamir's intense, then he's sad, then the dog goes, like, there's all these little things. And like, you realize that Shamir becomes the audience. Like, he's actually with the audience watching the event happen, and he's kind of telling you that. And then you know, you it's always weird when you have to kill a character, you know, because you got to tell the actor, you're like, eh. So we didn't want killing Lance Reddick's character to be a gag. We just didn't want to kill somebody to kill somebody, right? It had to mean something. And if you think about it, the whole friendship thread starts off with Lance Reddick's character dying, and that triggers Winston to initiate this whole series of events. But it also starts with the you know, the plaque for Sharon, and then it leads into the tombstone for John, and it leads into what is friendship, what is the choice of friendship, that kind of thing. And you think it's going to work on paper, but you never know till you see Ian and Lance holding each other and you go, my friend, and then it goes and you see it ripple through. So it's not just one moment, it's just like how a thread comes through. Like I was up until very recently, to your point, I was very nervous that the dilemma of friendship thing was ever going to come through. You didn't know, like it's just in your head, and you don't know that they're going to get the small thematics between Lance dying and Keanu dying and the sunrise and the sunset and what that whole symbolism is. I mean, you know, it's a Trojan horse thing, right? It's wrapped in this insane, ludicrous action thing, but do you get the cool little points of, you know, what's choice mean and how you impose on your friends and accepting responsibility, like all those great Greek tragedy themes, like that's what I'm most proud of, is like, can you get, you know, a real mythological thematic into a film that's fun and still make you laugh. But at the end of it, like the best thing about it, right, is honestly to talk to you like right now and go, oh, you kind of got that. Okay, that's fun. But you still had fun, right? Yeah. So, and it was still batshit crazy. But you got that, like at the end of the day, you know, the subtext is, okay, you know, own up to your shit, you know, and that's what's fun. That's, for a filmmaker, that's probably the funnest thing ever, to kind of put in a movie what you believe in. I believe in choice. I believe in all that stuff. So when Keanu and I see people react to it, or, you know, cheer when something happens, or go on when something happens like that, those are the best moments.
Yeah, I love it so much. I told my brother as soon as I got out, I was like, John Wick 4 rules. We have to see John Wick 4 when I'm home, because it's just
a
one of those
family
movies.
film.
It's a family film. I believe that last Pitbull shot got something in my head about the future of this franchise and
That was left
everything
in
else.
very, very, very intentionally. You're seeing a version
I
of the
was like,
ending. There was another version there.
I was like, what's this Pitbull doing? But thank you so much for talking with me again today. Really
No,
means a
thanks,
lot. And
Rachel.
I truly do love this movie. I can't wait for everyone to get to see it.
That's very nice of you, Rachel. Thank you.